I'm Nick, General Manager and Service Advisor here at Country Peddler in Castle Rock, Colorado. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install your tubeless tire on your mountain bike. So some of the products that you might need to purchase to set up your bike tubeless: tires that signify they are tubeless ready. Valves are the most important thing to run a tubeless tire system. A lot of rims will have valves that are specific to them. Otherwise, if you don't have that option, Stan's valves are a really good option. And then the sealant that you need to use, many options to choose from, a lot of what you prefer. Do some research, see what you like. If you like to run lightweight, or if you want something that maybe seals up a little bit stronger and deals with a higher pressure scenario. But there's a world of options out there as far as tubeless setup and what products to choose from. So some tools that you're gonna need: some gloves. Nobody likes getting sealant on their hands. It does not feel good. Additionally, maybe an air gun, a compressor pump or a compressor inflator, or they do, Bontrager makes this nice TLR inflator. It's for tubeless applications, as well as airing up normal tires or tubes. Tire levers, a valve core tool, always recommended to have one even if you're not running tubeless. Injectors, there's a lot of injectors to choose from. I really enjoy the Park Tool injector, but you can be fine with the TLR injector from Bontrager or the tried and true Stan's injector. With the injectors, it's really important to remember whenever you're done using them that you rinse them out with cold water. Hot water will solidify the sealant inside the injector and basically ruin the injector. But that's what you're gonna need to set up tubeless. First, you might want to pull off your old tire. If you have any questions on how to do that, you can reference our last video. So, if you watched the last video, you saw how easy it was to install a tube tire. Tubeless tires, though, can be a little bit more difficult, as the beads and tolerances are a little bit tighter on a tubeless system. So I'm going to show you a few simple tricks that will help you install your new tire, or maybe your old one if you just needed to get in and clean out the sealant. Before you go to start installing the tire, you might need to check a few things. The condition of the valve core, if it's gummed up with sealant, maybe clean it off, go get a new one from your local bike shop. Additionally, the condition of the valve itself, if it's plugged with sealant, there might be some sealant sitting over the hole to allow air to come in and out of the tire. You can take something like a small screwdriver, a spoke that you might have laying around, or something that's enough to go into that valve hole to get it cleaned out. You inspect your rim to make sure that the tape is okay, that it doesn't need to be replaced. We'll cover that in a later video. And if everything looks to be good, you're ready to start installing the tire. After you inspected your rim, note the direction of the tread on the tire, which way it's pointing. Maxxis, though, makes it really easy to identify this, as the white labeling that you'll see here always goes on the right side of the rim, otherwise away from the disc brake side. Whenever I'm installing the tire, I like to make sure that I'm lining up the tire pressure label close to where the valve's gonna be. Again, as noted in the tire changing video that you've hopefully watched, you start by putting the bead on a couple inches to the right or the left of the valve itself, and you start working that bead around. And as you can see, once I get up to here, it sometimes, and again, I have a lot of experience putting tires on, it went on relatively easily. Now we're going to tackle the next bead. And as noted in the last step, I like to make sure that my pressure is relatively close to where the valve is sitting at. Especially on Maxxis, they label the pressure right there. Some tires have it ingrained into the sidewall where it might be a little hard to read. Really, whatever's either aesthetically pleasing to you or easiest for you to identify where the pressure is going to be at on your tire, I would suggest putting that close to the valve just in case you ever forget what to fill your tires up to. So for the outside bead that you can see is not installed yet, we're going to do the same thing like we did with the initial bead. We're going to start about a couple inches away from the valve, working the tire around. And then this work can get a little difficult. Again, As you see, as I get to here, I'm starting to struggle a little bit. So I'm going to follow back around and make sure that that bead is pressed into the center of the rim. This is a very important detail that a lot of people forget to look at. And then once you get it on there, or in the center of the rim, you can see how easy that tire just went on. Now, some things to keep in mind. Some tires have a much tougher casing, like a downhill casing, a double down casing from Maxxis. Those tires are really thick and very hard to put on. That's whenever we recommend using some tire levers and a lot of elbow grease. And of course, if you need any help with those, come on down to Country Peddler where we can get those installed for you. Now we're going to cover the few tools that you might need to use while you're inflating your tire. Sometimes if you have a really difficult tire and it's having a hard time beating up, you might need the use of a compressor and a blower valve, or an air gun as some people call it. You're going to take your air gun and you're going to, while hooked up to the compressor, put it into the coreless valve and inflate like so. Being careful not to overinflate because that can blow up the tire. Additionally, a lot of times, especially this tire, it's going to seat up really easy for me. But what I would do is I would install the valve and either use an inflator that you would hook up to an air compressor, or maybe a tubeless tire pump. This is something that you'll inflate to about 140 psi. With the valve installed, hook it up to the valve and release the lever to allow a gush of air into the tire to install it. This is by far the most economical and, I would say easiest option to use, especially trail side. But if you're doing it at home, hopefully you got an air compressor that can help you out. If not, and you're trying to do it with a regular pump, good luck. All right, now that you've got the tire bead seated to the rim, the last step is injecting sealant into the rim. A lot of times though, you put the sealant in and the tire's not beaded, or it's comes unbeaded right after you seat it up. It's something that just happens. But depending on what injector you use, my Park Tool injector goes right into the valve. Other ones, like made by Stans, they'll screw onto the outside. A Bontrager injector will screw to the inside. I've already got 4 ounces into this wheel, and I just finished up with putting a final ounce. So that how much sealant you put into the tire is going to determine upon the width. If you have any questions, you can contact or reference the internet, check out the sealant that you're particularly using, and see how much they like you to run per tire width. With Stans, which is what I use for my tire, 2.6 tires takes 5 ounces. Anything under 2.6 will take 4. And it just goes from there. They do have a chart on Stan's website that'll let you know how many ounces to put into your tire. And then once you got the sealant installed, you can just reinstall the valve, inflate your tire, and then go for a ride. As I'm sure you're aware, bike maintenance can be quite expensive. So whatever money you can save doing it yourself, you'll benefit, and we're here to help. With our new channel, we'll be uploading many more bike maintenance videos for you consistently. So make sure that you give a like, a share, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment. Thank you.